everyone, and welcome to the Geary Cast. My God, it's been a long time since I've said that. Yes, it's me, Alex Ashmore, back. I haven't disappeared. I've just been very busy. It's lovely to be back. And today I am joined by none other than Chris Marquez. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Alex. Thank you.
Good to be back.
Yeah, I'm happy that you're back.
Uh,
We also have not so great news, though. Shall I start with that?
you go ahead.
Um, Alex is back for not just a reason. Alex is back because two people, and this is very sad. I'm a bit heartbroken. Left the Gearycast, which is the host and co-founder Matt and Nick. And why? Well, that's a good question. Doing the Gearycast is a lot of work, Alex. You know that. It's a lot of time consuming. We always been there. Matt has started with me 5 years ago, and it's difficult to combine things with work and social life sometimes. And after 5 years, he just felt that it got I wouldn't say boring because it's nice to talk to each other, but he needs some time off, which we understand. um and the same counts for Nick, I guess, that there is having a family, a job, the Geary cost. We did a lot over the past years, a lot of work, especially Nick and Matt as well, of course, made the Geary cost big. They have done a lot for the Geary cost, and I think it's just a bit of life happening. And that is sad for us because there are two members who did a lot for the Geary Cost and who are very important for the Geary Cost. And I'm thankful for that. And we, of course, are still friends, and nothing changes with that. But I find it very difficult to not to accept, because I accept it and understand it, because we all have been at that point. But it's a bit hard. I find it harder than something else, maybe, because you're losing two people you have worked with over such a long time on a daily basis, and it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of times it's hard to combine the Geary cost with social life and other things. So I hope if if there's a chance to or if they found their time off, they might want to rejoin, because they're always welcome. The door is always open. You know what I mean? It's one big family and everybody's welcome. But there's also good news, because the both of them are not disappeared, didn't disappear totally. Matt, for example, has started a new podcast with his brother, which is called Los Boyos, which is a very nice podcast about football traveling and everything about football. They did an episode on Athletic Club de Bilbao. That's the last one. And Nick started a new podcast about Spanish football stories, I believe, which is called El Partido, together with Paul Garrigy. And he has a Primera RFF podcast, which you can listen with Liam Bainbridge every month, which is called El Pozo. So they're both very nice podcasts. So you don't have to miss them completely. But I can understand them, because talking about Malaga every week and everything is the same. You know, what we do is the same format ever since, and it gets a bit boring talking about Rocco Baturina. Uh, if we start Rocco Baturina or Gioni week in, week out, and those are not my words, but I also find that very boring. Um, but I can understand people need some time off, and I hope we can welcome them back in the future. I have also other great news, because where some people where for some people the door closes but never fully closes. We swing the door open for other people to join the GearyCast. So I'm happy and very proud to announce that we have two new members at the GearyCast. I will announce one, and you can announce the other one because one is still in Tenerife, and the one who is in Tenerife is Joe. Joe lives in Germany. He is in love with Malaga. He wants to move over from Germany to Malaga. You can know him because he had a podcast before, and that is the England B Team podcast.
Well,
Very nice guy. And I'll let you introduce the other one, Alex, and then I'll
yes.
pass it over to you.
No, very, very well said there, Chris. And of course, like you said, Matt and Nick will always have a home here at the GearyCast, and I'm sure their voices won't be far away from a GearyCast mic at some point throughout this season. I'm sure you'll stick a camera in their face at some point when they're over at
I
Barham
hope.
Madrid.
I'll try.
Yes, do try your best. And like you said, we do have one other member joining us and making his debut on the podcast is Sergio. Sergio, welcome to the podcast. Good to have you on. Do you want
Yeah,
to tell us
yeah,
a little bit about yourself? Why you speak
yes.
so good English? Where you're from? Why you're a Malaga fan? What made you want to put yourself through all this suffering?
And
Okay.
ask about his English team as well.
Oh yes. Who do you
That's
support?
it. I know what it
Okay.
is.
Right, where do I start then? Well, firstly, I want to thank you all to inviting me to join the GearyCast. It's an honour for me to be representing this show that gets to a lot of Malaga fans that live abroad. So, where do I start? Well, I'm Sergio, I live here in Malaga, and I speak English like this because my mum's English. Um, I've got a mixture. My mum's English and my dad's Spanish. My mum were born in Sheffield. So that's why I speak English so good. I've been a Malaga fan since I've been a kid, but as well, as you said, I've got another team that I support. And no, it's not Sheffield, it's Leeds United. So I might get a little bit of hate for that, but I'm prepared for it. I'm used to it. So
I don't know why is there almost, and this is a question because I always I don't know if you know him. Can you still hear me?
yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you know him. Now I forgot his name. Ellis Platten from the away days.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, he's a Leeds fan. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Leeds fan as well, and he also gets a lot of hate about being a Leeds fan. Why does Leeds fan get so much hate?
No, no, historical, innit? We used to be one of the top teams in England, and we used to have a style of football that a lot of other teams didn't like as well. Our fans are quite arrogant, so that makes us a little bit hated. So I think that's a few reasons for it. But I
Um,
mean, no one can really complain. We're not there anymore. Might be coming back though, but
I was going to
Alex
say
supports Yeovil, so
yes.
so at Yeovil they hate Leeds
Well,
now.
I don't think Yeovil have the right to hate anyone above them. We're in the fifth tier.
Above yourselves.
I
Well,
was going to say if you were missing the dulcet tones of Luke Chambers this week, we've got a Luke Chambers Spanish version. I'm sure Luke won't hate me for saying that. A little bit of a Yorkshire accent in there
yeah, it's there. It's there.
as well. But great to have you here, Sergio, and we look forward to making you a fully fledged member of the GearyCast team, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll have many a match day down Baramanos Madrid, and you'll get to meet all the friends of the pod and so forth. And we're a big. There's a lot of us, as you would have seen, all
Yeah.
across Europe, across the world, States, Japan. We don't just confine ourselves to the British Isles, and it's a good family to be a part of, isn't it, Chris?
it is a great family. It's also very scary sometimes because I was at La Rosaleda last weekend, and what happened at La Rosaleda? I was wearing my Girika sweater because all the rest was in the basket, ready to get in the wash machine. So I thought, okay, I'll wear this. And then I was in the stadium, and very nice boys came up to me and they said, "Can I have a picture with your sweater?" I said, "Why?" And then they said, and then the guy said, "Because I always listen to the podcast." And it
Oh,
was a Spanish guy, so that was very nice. So, um, as you said, you always listen. I don't know your name. I forgot to ask your name, but I give you a shout out from my part. It was very nice meeting you. Keep listening. But yeah, that also happens sometimes. So if someone comes up to you and say, "Hey, you're Sergio, don't be afraid. It's all fine."
yeah.
Yeah, I
You
will be. I will be.
get used to the fandom soon. I'm sure. I'm sure Chris has been stopped many a time in Mercadona and said, "Are you Chris Marquez from the
Never, never, never. This was my first time ever. And he didn't want a picture with me. He wanted a picture with the sweater. Let's not forget that. And I told him, and I said, "But I'm the founder. Yeah, I'll get a picture with you, of course."
Yeah, we don't care about that. We want the
Yeah.
sweater.
That was-
Well, without further ado, shall we get stuck into some news, guys?
yeah, let's
Yeah.
go.
A fair bit to go through. I'll start off with a little update. We've obviously got not just the Malaga first 11 men's team, we've got the Malagueño, Atlético Malagueño, and Malaga Femenino. And it was a good weekend for all the teams. 3 points across the board. And, well, Malaga Femenino gained a very important 3 points against Olimpia Las Rozas, thanks to a 50th minute goal from Noe. And, well, it's been a great season so far for Malaga Femenino. And, well, of course, if you're ever across in the Malaga region and there is no Malaga game on, the Malaga men's team game on, do check out to see if there is a Femenino game on or a Malagueño game on. And in the words of Luke Chambers, who wrote me this little piece, he said, "I'm running out of words for this fantastic Atletico Malagueño side, as once more they took the points this time, winning emphatically 6-1 against El Palo, of course, with Chupete getting another double, who hits 30 goals for the season. And, well, a brilliant win for Atletico Malagueño and Femenino."
Can I add something to that? Because it's crazy numbers, right? So they played 27, 66 points. That's pretty much. Jaén also has 61 points, so we are 5 points in front still. But if you look at the third place, which is Huetor Tajar, they have 47 points. But back to Atlético Malagueño, they have won 21 matches. They drawn 3 and they lost 3. And this is crazy. 27 matches played and 64 goals scored, and they only conceded 19 goals.
It's crazy. And as well, the play El Palo in Tiro Pichon's ground. It's a local scene here in Malaga, so they didn't play in El Palo. So it was even more as a tricky game because it's not the same conditions that you can have in the El Palo's ground. It's bigger, well, it's wider, and the grass is much better. Tiro Pichon is very small ground, and scoring 6 goals there is quite impressive. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
A brilliant start to the season. And, well, of course, for the seasoned listeners amongst us will know how the lower leagues of Spanish football work. And, of course, as we mentioned earlier, for all your Primera Ref info and news, do go and listen to Nick and Liam Bambridge's podcast to keep up in case you did miss the third division of Spanish football. I know Malaga fans will be glad to see the back of it. But, of course, Atlético Malagueño playing in the Tercera Federación, which has quite a large number of groups, and they all obviously play towards that promotion, and then they have the playoffs to go up. So it's a hectic grouping down there, I should say, and well, hopefully Atlético Malagueño can steer on.
Atlético Malagueño is so good, Alex.
Yeah.
That I don't see a possibility that they won't get promotion.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
For me, I think you have to appreciate what Real Jaén is doing, to be honest, keeping up the speed of Atlético Malagueño, doing all season, keeping
But
up the pressure. Because I think Atlético Malagueño is another level, and you can see it. The players are being called from Pellicer to train with the first team, and a lot of them are getting minutes. I mean,
when you see the difference between Real Jaén and Atlético Malagueño, it's huge as well.
yeah,
Because Atlético Malagueño is, I've seen them play against Real Jaén, and Atlético Malagueño is so much better than Jaén.
yeah. That was a 2-0 or 3-0.
Yeah, I believe 3.
3. Chupete scored. Yeah.
And of course, when you have, like you said there, Sergio, when you have a cheat code like Chupete in your team.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's unreal, man.
But like I said, of course, about the Femenino, if you are across in the Malaga area, plenty of teams around there that in the local area. You talk about Jaén, there's Motril, Mijas have a team, Marbella.
Torremolinos,
There's plenty
Antequera.
of teams in that area, and of course, going up the divisions, like you said there, Chris, Antequera. There's plenty of football in the Malaga region and across Andalusia to be enjoyed. So, would recommend going across to check out a game. And well, if you get lucky enough to see Chupete score some goals, then enjoy it. Enjoy it. Now, on to our next piece of news. A successful week, like I said, all around at the club, which is always good to see. We do. Well, I want to touch a little bit on a certain Spanish defender who came from the special academy that Malaga possesses, a certain Dean Huijsen. Chris, Sergio.
It's Huijsen.
Huijsen.
Dean Huijsen. Can we get this right?
I've got my Spanish hat on, and
you're a professional journalist now. Dean Huijsen. It's very easy.
I suppose his name is Dutch, and you're the Dutch person, so you should be able to correct us. So I'll start off with you, Sergio.
Yeah,
it's great to see him doing so well, and there's a sense of pride. But is any part of you surprised of how good he is at such a young age, or were you always confident seeing him playing in younger years and throughout the Malaga academy?
It doesn't surprise me, but it does in a way because the 2 performers that he puts in for the national team for the first time, it's really impressive. Mostly because in the first leg, he comes on with the pressure. I mean, I feel sorry for him in a way because his first game has to be against the Netherlands with all the talking that has been and everything, and he comes on and he does a really good match. He does, for me, like he was like he played all his life with the national team. Unreal. And the second leg more the same, but I do feel sorry for him in that way because he has to play the Netherlands. But no, it doesn't surprise me. He's got a lot of personality. He's a really good defender as well. The long balls that he puts are unreal. And I'm sorry if any Bournemouth fan listening, but I don't think he's going to be there next season. I honestly think a bigger club's going to come for him because he's really impressive.
Well, Sergio mentioned it there, Chris. Are we going to see him in a white shirt next season for Real Madrid?
I hope not. I definitely hope not. I rather see him in a red shirt with Arne Slot.
It's an option. It's an option.
Instead of because Virgil van Dijk seems to leave Liverpool, so I think Dean Huijsen is a very good option and an affordable option as well.
Yeah,
I thought he played an amazing match, and the best thing he has for me, or what he's shown, is his creativity to go upwards on the pitch. So attacking, he's also very, very well. The whistling thing, I don't understand. I understand it a bit, maybe. And why do I understand it a bit? Because Dean Huijsen never has been a discussion point in the Netherlands, or nobody had real opinion about him.
You're perfectly placed, actually, Chris, to talk about it, because obviously you being, living quite a large part of your life in the Netherlands, but being Spanish and growing up, what do Dutch people think about him choosing to play for Spain?
I don't think I don't think it's a real problem, but I think the only thing they see as a problem is that he has spent like his whole youth playing for the Dutch national team. So he went through the under 12s, the under, I don't know which unders you all have, but he played for Holland his whole youth. Um, and then he said in the interview that he was going to play for Holland as well in the professional level. And I think that's why people in Holland thought it was fun to whistle at him. I don't think he's a big big concern for people in the Netherlands, to be honest.
As he says, he's just a chill guy. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think because people now call him Spanish, and I'm in groups, WhatsApps with, and oh, he's Spanish, he's Spanish. No, he's not Spanish. He's just a Dutch guy who grew up in Spain and wants to be Spanish. But that doesn't take away that he's still a Dutch guy because he is Dutch. I mean, um, his Dutch is perfect, better than his Spanish. With his Spanish, have a little accent.
Chris, what's his full name? Do you know his full name?
Dean Donny Huizen.
Yeah, I mean, his second surname, I won't pronounce it because you'll probably be able to pronounce it much better. Beginning with W, is it Wishmuller?
Yeah, but that's the thing. In Holland, we don't do second last
No,
name.
but as like to have a name like that, he's very clearly Dutch, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's very Dutch, and at home they speak Dutch. This whole family said in an interview, my whole family is Dutch. They see themselves as Dutch, and I'm the only one at home who feels Spanish. So I have been thinking about this, and if I was in the same position as him, I probably would also choose for Spain, and not because I really feel Spanish or because I think when you're a professional footballer, if you can play for Spain or if you can play for Holland, I mean, you see them both as your countries, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, I don't think he's attracted to one more than another. I think I would have seen it from a different position, and that's the position of which country do I have the most opportunities with to win to win things in the future? And that answer is very simple, I think, because Spain have shown over the last 15 years that they know what winning is.
And also,
Yes.
you have to take into consideration playing opportunities because he must have looked at both of them and thought about his potential career as a Spanish national team player and a Dutch national team player. And I'm sure his dad would have had something to say about it. And I'm sure his parents or his family as a whole would have had something to say about it. But I think from a Malaga point of view, great to see him doing so well. Moving on to our next piece of news, a short one, which I won't spend too long. The tickets for the Cordoba game have been released, and some Malaga fans not too happy about the number of tickets that Cordoba have. They've got, 500 we had when we travelled up to Cordoba, and we've given them a few more. But, of course, it's a local derby. It will be a good game as it always is, and the atmosphere will be.
How many did they get, Alex?
I don't know the amount, but we got 500 from them.
Yes.
So I think that we've given them a little bit more. I don't really understand the maths behind it because, of course, in the league, there's no minimum. Like in the Champions League, you have to give your away fans 5%. There's no La Liga don't have any stipulations when it comes to numbers. So I think it would have been a case of Malaga working out the demand and giving the number from that. But our big piece of news, of course, that was, I think, something that's been talked about for quite a while over the last couple of months and ever since the announcement was made. We saw that potentially Malaga will probably have to move to a temporary stadium that could go up to 26,000 seats, and it would mean obviously playing away from La Rosaleda 2 years. But then that leads into the recent arguments, the wrong word, but statements from clubs of how the stadiums have been selected. And Sergio, it's been a bit of an ugly couple of
Yeah,
some. Obviously, we've not got that so far as insults being thrown around, but I think some clubs are quite unhappy with how the stadiums have been selected, particularly Celta Vigo and Real Sociedad being involved here.
yeah. Last few hours have been some information of the Spanish Federation of doing strange things in the selections of the grounds or the cities for the World Cup, and it's something that I don't really understand, to be honest. So in 2025, these type of situations, I don't get. They're saying they're being on about the Valencia is going to be one that they want to put inside. So that means that all the two are going to be going out, or they're planning. I don't know. It's a difficult situation. What we hope is nothing changed for Malaga. It's really important that we got the World Cup for 2030 because it brings a lot of money to the city, and we hope nothing changes in that way. And we hope that the planning of the new ground goes everything okay, because we know that if it doesn't, in any moment they can switch and turn you backwards. So we
I,
hope
I,
everything
I
goes
think
well.
we have more important things to discuss now that we have Sergio. Sergio, do you live in the city of Malaga?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you know a bit. It's near the Martin Carpena. It's next to it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a good area. It's got the underground that gets there as well. It's
Does
not
it?
too far from town. I mean, it's not as close as La Rosaleda is, but it's not too far. It's got good connections, and yeah, it's I mean, it's the obvious place that
Does
you
it
can
have
live.
bars?
Yeah, it's got a few bars.
Okay.
There's
That's
no,
important.
no bar in Manos though, but
Well,
No,
it's got a bar that's where the Unicaja supporters go before the games. So I think that's one of the best ones around there. So that's where we'll be heading probably.
and it's near to the beach. That's nice as well.
Yeah, yeah. We'll
It's
be cold at night.
is it still Sakaba or
Yeah, it's Sagala, yeah.
yeah?
It's Sagala, yeah. Very close to that.
Uh,
So when Malaga play at night, might be colder than usual. So we'll probably need a coat on because near the sea, as you know, it's a little bit colder in Malaga for the humidity. But yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be
it's
fine.
close to the airport as well. It's close
Yeah,
to the academy.
yeah.
What
Very
else?
close.
It's next to the Martin Carpena. So for fans who love basketball and football, they can just walk from one to the other on the
of
same
Yeah,
day.
of a certain Sawatel.
Yeah, and also important. Malaga used to train in that stadium in 2012.
yeah,
2012.
yeah. 2012. Yeah, I think they stopped not long after that training there, and they went to the annex on the Federation field.
It will have a Fuenlabrada feeling for you, Alex.
No, I mean,
Or was it Alcorcon where the stands were?
oh, no, it's Fuenlabrada. It was Fuenlabrada. I think I think we have to view it as a necessary. Obviously, Malaga getting a World Cup location is unbelievable, and the money that it will bring to the area, and hopefully the yes, there's the nostalgia of not wanting to change La Rosaleda, but if we're being honest, at some point it will need a facelift. It's looking a little bit sorry for itself. Yes, there is the argument that you don't have to change it so much, but I think the money that it will bring into the club in the future, having a bigger stadium, and the money that it will bring into the local community is going to be tenfold.
That's doubtful, but that's for another podcast.
What's doubtful?
If it brings a lot of money,
I mean, if you have a bigger stadium, you have more fans.
yeah, for Malaga Club de Football it does, but
Yes, that's
like
what I
for
mean.
For Malaga City, it's undoubtful whether it costs money or
No, I mean more for when they have fans
yeah.
coming to
Yeah,
stay
and
in.
I think the intention is doing using the stadium for the stuff like concerts or the events. So
I
Which
mean,
is
we see it in Madrid with the Bernabeu being
yeah,
used
yeah,
for Swift concerts.
that's also a bit of a problem because they're not really following the law according to the decibel meters. There are a lot of neighbors at the Bernabeu who are complaining.
yeah. That's a problem. Yeah.
Well, like you said, Chris, a podcast for
I,
another
I
day.
know you have a Real Madrid thing. Yeah.
Um, no, well, I think that sort of just about wraps up the news, guys. Unless there's anything else you want to bring up
Not at
before
all.
we
Let's dive into the important
Yeah,
things.
dive into the important thing. After half an hour, we have finally got around to talking about that win over Racing Ferrol. Were both of you there?
yeah,
I'll start off with the atmosphere on match day. How was it? Obviously, it's been I think a season where I don't think it would have been unrealistic for us to expect a promotion chasing season, but it is still good to see that the fans coming in their numbers every weekend, isn't it?
yeah. It's very good. I mean, I think we were 23,000, so I mean, one of the top attendance of the league once again. And yeah, we've got atmosphere. I mean, got one point they were quite cold. The weather turned a little bit, but nothing drastic because I don't think it rained or it rained only at certain points. So yeah, and loud as always. And yeah, very good once again as usual.
Chris, are
I
you are
think.
you?
What am I? Am I still
No,
here?
no, no. I was going to say, are you? And obviously, it's good to see the fans still coming in their numbers. Do you still feel that same buzz around the stadium on match day as you did back at the beginning of the
I
season?
think. I think, if I'm honest, the bus was away for a few weeks. It seemed, but I thought it was buzzing. Fondo Sur was buzzing last weekend. I thought the atmosphere was amazing.
I mean, like you said, Sergio, 23,000 for a game against a team who are struggling in the division. Yes, obviously
Yeah,
Malaga would have been hoping to get the 3 points, but a good day out for the club nonetheless. Well, let's get into it. The game. Well, we did win 2-0. I'm going to start off with the starting lineup, and I'll go to you with this one, Chris. Any grievances, any things you weren't too happy with? You look at the changes that were made. 3 of the back 4 were changed. Any things that you
I think
perhaps
we needed a change. The thing that I don't remember who said it to me. All the young boys are out, and it felt a bit like that.
I mean, to remind you all, we had Joaquin Gabilondo at right back, Nelson Monte, Na Galilea, and obviously Alfonso Herrero, the ever present in goal. Victor Garcia left back, and then David La Rubia, Juanpe, Luismi, and Kevin, of course, on that left hand side with Dioni and Lobete up front. Sergio, were you happy with that starting 11?
well, it surprised me that Victor came in. I think it's been a while since he didn't start. And the rest are quite expected, to be honest. I didn't really expect anything different. But yeah, we're happy to see Victor back. I think he had a decent game, to be honest, with that first goal appearance. And yeah, so the lineup's much expected a part of that Victor in the left back.
I want to move into that goal because it only took us 9 minutes to take the lead. A lovely passing move and a good finish from Lobete. This first half, Chris, have we seen starts like this? Obviously, I think that's perhaps been sometimes the grievance from Malaga over the last couple of seasons that it's been the slow starts that we've wanted to change, but that was not a slow start at all, was it?
No, it wasn't a slow start. A great goal. And I said it in last week's podcast to Matt. I wanted to see Lobete as a striker because I think he could be the best striker we have. And he showed it a bit, although he didn't play as a striker. But a great goal.
A great goal and a great move altogether. And well, I think a perfect way to start those sort of games because against the team that you never, I'm never going to say 3 points are guaranteed, but 3 points are expected. And I think it calmed the
I
nerves.
think it's difficult to play against those teams towards the end of the season,
It is.
Alex.
But it also, I think,
They have
it calms the nerves when you get a goal early on.
Yeah, they have to. They really have to. They are more in need of points than Malaga is.
And well, if you look at the table, of course, Malaga sitting quite comfortably, but Racing de Ferrol on 23 points after that defeat. Quite a far cry from Real Zaragoza, who sit just above the relegation zone, a 14-point difference between those two sides. So a must-win game for them against the team that they would have also looked at and thought we could win this one. There was a certain moment in that first half that I wanted to fixate on a little bit. It was a challenge from Juanpe, and we saw two of these in the game, not from Juanpe for both of them. The other one we'll come on to a little bit later, but Juanpe coming in from behind, perhaps lucky to get away with a booking for that challenge, do you think, Sergio?
I haven't seen it repeated, to be honest, but from the stands, I think they were unnecessary. I don't know why. I remember talking with my dad saying, why has he done that? I think we were having a decent game until that moment. Well, I think he had a decent game in general that first half, but I don't get why he does that tackle. It's not the first time that he does it. So yeah, I haven't seen it repeated, but if you say nowadays with VAR, you don't know what's going to happen. So for me, unnecessary, and he misses next game. So silly tackle.
No, Chris, I think this is always something that we talk about, and I think any football fan would like to see it. Going ahead early sometimes can be that danger. But were you happy with how Malaga controlled the game up until the second goal?
I think they control it very well. I also think that Ferrol didn't put much. Well, they didn't put much effort in trying to get a goal. I mean, they were more toothless than my grandmother of 86 years old. You know what I mean, Alex?
I do.
I mean,
really. But for me, one of the worst sides that's been in La Rosaleda this season. It doesn't surprise me that they're in the relegation zone. They're really poor. They didn't offer anything, and Malaga control the game very comfortably. For me, sometimes, I know that people might question the lack of ambition in the second half. Why don't we go and try to get a third or a fourth goal? But I don't know. I mean, yeah, if you can get a third one or a fourth, brilliant. But it was not really.
Why should you?
The atmosphere went down a little bit second half. Everyone was just happy with the 2-0 win. So, I mean, 3 points and a clean sheet's a clean sheet. So we have to be happy with that, in my opinion.
Definitely. And well, you said they're pushing on for another goal. We did get another goal in the 35th minute. David Larrubia making it 2-0. Another brilliant move for the second goal. And we had our fair share of chances in the first half as well. But Chris, a lovely work move as well for the second goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen somebody doing something that I didn't know he could do it, and nobody knew he could do it because he didn't play for almost 2 seasons. I mean, how many minutes did the guy have? But it was. I'm not sure if to call him Juanpe Iniesta or Juanpe Xavi. What a ball!
Juanpe Busquets.
Yeah. What a cross!
It was. I think that is probably the thing that pleased me most from this first half performance is the clinical nature of that attack, and I think the second goal summed it up quite well, didn't it, Sergio?
Yeah, I think Valverde is our best player at the moment, and in that number 10 role for me is his position. When he's played on the wing this season, I haven't seen him be as dangerous how he is in that number 10 role. And yeah, the move is fantastic. The ball is incredible, and the cross with his left foot is really good as well. La Rubia gets there, good at the second post, and he delivers a good header. So yeah, very good goal. One of the best ones of the season as a team play. So yeah, very happy with that.
Now we didn't score any more goals, but we did hang on for the win, and it was largely a similar story when it came to the second half. Malaga didn't have the majority of the possession. It was fairly split. It was 51-49 towards Ferrol, but Malaga had to do some defending into the second half. Chris, were you nervous at any point? Did you see a comeback on the cards?
No, I haven't been nervous at any point. The second half is probably the most boring half I've ever seen in La Rosaleda, and that is good. That is
Were
good
you
because Malaga really needed the 3 points, and I've said it before. I don't think this Malaga is really great, and I think it's going to be hard what is remaining of the season to get 8 points. That's at least my perception of it. So it's very important. 8 points, I would say, and then we're safe.
No, I do want to touch on something actually, which was at halftime. Just before halftime, another tackle from behind Joaquin Gabilondo. Chris, would you say was he lucky to get away with a yellow similar to Juanpe early on in the game?
Yeah, I think our joking isn't been really in form over the past few months, and he's a great footballer. We've seen that he's very. I think he's a good footballer, but his form seems to be away. And then I think, should we really start with him?
Would you prefer to see someone like Carlos Puga starting most of those games?
I'm just a very much Puga fan, so yeah.
Sergio, are you a Carlos Puga fan over?
Yeah, I am as well. I think he's better and he offers a lot more to Malaga in attacking wise. I do think Gabilondo, he's got a player in him. I'm sure of that. But the issue that this season he's been really difficult for him to get into games. He's given away a lot of fouls, like that one the other day, and he misses. If I'm not wrong, he just misses the next match as well.
He's also I won't say responsible, but he has in many goals we get against us. There is a bit of he has something to do with it.
Yeah, I think he suffers a lot with the crosses to the second post. I think we've conceded loads of goals like that this season. Not only his fault, but I remember thinking when we played Cadiz that he had a nightmare with balls like that. He couldn't defend. So yeah, it's been a difficult season. Well, it's been a difficult season for him, but I'm sure there's a player in him. I'm sure of that.
Now, at halftime, we had, as well as Carlos Puga coming on for Joaquin Gabilondo, Manu Molina came on for Juanpe, and then later on, Yanis Rahmani coming on for Kevin, and Chupete, of course, coming on for Dioni, with Sangali making up the last of those 5 substitutions coming in for Lobete. I want to focus on one of those changes, Chris. Yanis Rahmani coming on for Kevin. First of all, what did you make of the Kevin performance? Were you happy with him? And are you happy with how it's gone for Yanis Rahmani in a Malaga shirt this season so far? End of the answer. Let's stop it there.
Yeah, well, you want an honest answer. I don't. He doesn't really get a chance either, does he? I mean, if you only get 15 minutes every week or 30 minutes, it's not really good for your confidence. And Kevin, he one moment he plays like he is name someone like
Vinicius.
Well, even better, like he is Ronaldinho. He will stand on the ball, and then the next 20 matches he's nowhere to be found. That's a bit Kevin Medina, and that's a problem. If you ask me, should we keep Kevin? I really don't know the answer.
I think for perhaps the energy that he brings, and he always does bring that heart. You can never criticize him for not working hard enough, and I think he does bring that X factor sometimes to games. But it's a difficult one. Sergio, are you? I think it's maybe hard to judge Kevin because he's still very young as a player. But do you see him developing into a more mature, maybe the wrong word, but a different player?
I agree with Chris, to be honest. I've got my doubts if I would keep him. I don't think he had a bad game the other day, though. I think he was all right, but I need more. He needs to be more regular. He he's what Chris said. One day he's Neymar, the other day he's Kevin. but I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough decision. I know that he gives everything. I know he loves playing for Malaga, but the question is there: do you keep him? Do you not keep him? I don't know. Yanis, I think, has been absolutely shocking this season. I think he's out of form. I don't even think he's good enough right now for the third tier of Spanish football. So I don't know. I will probably be playing someone from the Malagueño in front of him at this moment. I know that it's tough because they're playing for promotion and it's difficult to put these players in right now. But for me, it doesn't offer anything. And for me, the worst thing that he's out of form. A player that should be training every week and he dedicates to for professional football.
Now, before we move on to the important Chumbo and Biznaga, I want to focus on one more player, and that is Dione. Chris, you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that we do get tired of talking about Rocco Batterino and Dione up front, but I'm going to insist on asking a question here. He hasn't scored since we played Real Zaragoza and lost 2-1 in January. As a striker, we've seen him go through moments of brilliant form, and then we've also seen him go through very similar dry patches, like the last 7 or 8 games. What do we do with Dione?
Well, Dione himself always says that he's not a real striker. I think he is. You mean next season or this season? I don't know. I just love Dione. I don't know why, but I love him.
Sergio, do you love Dione?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do. I think he's had a fantastic season. I know that lately he hasn't been doing much, but if you would have asked us, every Malaga fan at the beginning of the season, what do you think Dione would have done? Everyone would have said he was going to be our first striker and he was not going to have any minutes. I think he's proven everybody wrong. He's been fantastic at least half of the season, and for me, he deserves to be another season in Malaga.
Me too. I would keep him. I think he wants to stay as well. I think he wants to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I did actually forget to slip in an apology there, Matt Harrison. If you're listening to this, sorry for the negative Kevin chat. We do apologise, and maybe it'll be made up in the coming weeks. But let's move on to Chumbo and Biznaga. Sergio, I'm sure are you aware of the whole Chumbo and Biznaga thing? I'm sure you are.
I've heard something, but I don't really know how it works, so you're going to have to explain it to me.
So Chumbo is, Chris, you'll probably know a little bit better than me, but of course Chumbo is given to our worst player of the week, and Biznaga is given to our man of the match.
Okay.
Chris, do you want to explain to Sergio a little bit about, and perhaps any listeners who are listening and aren't aware of what Chumbo and Biznaga mean? Do you want to explain a little bit about
that? A Chumbo is not a really nice looking thing, is it? Although they some people like them because my uncle's father-in-law, he loves them. He can eat 40 of them. There's a story that he ate 40 Chumbos. But they don't look very nice. A Biznaga is a beautiful handmade delicate flower made on with jasmine. Like the most beautiful thing you will see in Malaga.
So there you have it, Sergio. Chumbo is your worst player of the week, and Biznaga is your man of the match. Who is your Chumbo against Racing Ferrol?
I'm going to start with my Biznaga because I've got it very clear. For me, it's Lobete. Right now, our best player. And Chumbo, difficult. I don't think anyone was as bad, but can it be a substitution?
It can be.
You can even give it to I don't know. You can give it to everyone, everything. You can give it to the bench.
Okay, you can give it to the weather.
No, it's going to go for Janis.
Okay. Chris, who's your Chumbo from the Racing de Ferrol game?
I'll give it to Kevin
Okay. Wow.
because I don't think Kevin was.
Even
I
with the
think-
assist.
What?
Even with the assist.
Yeah, okay, that's maybe a bit ugly. I'll give it to Joking.
Okay. I agree with you on that one, actually. I've gone for Joaquin Gabilondo as my chumbo. And your Biznaga?
It has to be it has to be Juanpe for that pass. You don't see it for 2 seasons, and then there's this pass.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get a clean sweep of Lobetes. I've gone for Lobetes.
Yeah, it should be a little bit. I have to give it to Juanpe.
So I agree. Even I've chosen Lovete. You have to give it to Juanpe. He needs to get a mention.
Yeah.
For that pass.
Well, that just about wraps things up for that review of the Racing de Ferrol victory.
Yeah.
A win that leaves Malaga 7 points above the drop zone and 9 wins from 32 games with 15 draws. Only the 8 defeats as we move into Real Oviedo later this weekend. And we'll be talking about that later on in the week. And stay tuned to our socials and podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts for previews as we look ahead to a big game against playoff chasing Real Oviedo. But for now, that's about all we have time for. Sergio, thank you very much for joining us today, and a pleasure to speak to you, and hope you enjoyed your debut on the GearyCast.
Yeah, it's been really good. Thank you, as I said before, for having me. And yeah, it's been really good. I've had a good time.
Chris, thank you as always. A pleasure.
Thank you. Vamos Malaga. Don't forget to subscribe and all the things people ask you to do.
Definitely. Yes, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm sure Chris has some. I don't know whether you're still going for the other social media, whether you're Blue Sky, Threads, whatever.
We don't do Blue Sky and Threads anymore. I've already find it hard to keep up with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or if it's X, I don't know.
But also, if you're not in our Telegram group, do join our Telegram group, and you can have a chat with some like-minded Malaga fans. And thank you to you, the listener, for listening to this preview of Malaga's 2-0 victory over Racing de Ferrol. I've been Alex Ashmore, joined by Chris Marquez and Sergio. Thank you very much for listening, and vamos Malaga.